stars from Hollywood and from all over the world to entertain you on a giant screen with the few colorful motion pictures you've been hearing about and reading
It's
about.
showtime, folks. Enjoy the show.
We're delighted to have you with us. They're driving theater.
You'll find something to please you to add to your evening's enjoyment.
Is pleased to bring you our feature presentation.
What's up, everybody? It is Monday night. It's 8 o'clock Central Standard Time. It is May 23rd, 2022, and you are tuned into the Drive-In Speaker Box. I'm your host, Bo, the boom operator.
And I'm Slick Doggy the Grip.
Jake over here representing, and we've got a show for you tonight. If you are a brand new listener tuning in for the first time, downloading for the first time, we're going to talk to you about movies. That's what we do for about an hour here. We're going to tell you what's coming out in theaters. We're going to tell you what made money in theaters. We're going to review a movie that's in theaters. We're going to gossip. We're going to talk smack. We're going to chat in the comments over here. We're going to say howdy to Tony on YouTube. We're going to say howdy to Vince over on Twitch. Already jumped into live stream, and you can do the same as well if you just tune in on Facebook Live, Twitch, or YouTube Live every Monday night at 8 o'clock Central Standard Time. You can join us too.
So we've added hot goss to it now? Does that mean that we're keeping up with the Johnny Depp slander trial? That's all that's happening?
We need a new slander trial because the Johnny Depp one, I think Marilyn Manson is going to be the new slander trial. But yeah, the hot goss, like I'm so tired of celebrity. You know, I mean, celebrity has gotten so pervasive and intrusive, and you know, celebrity has now become programming and content. Like we consume content so much that we need the celebrity to be more content, and like, mind your business. That's kind of what I want to just tell people. Mind your own damn business. If they in court, they in court. I'll figure it out. I'll see the verdict. I don't need to get live tweets every 15 seconds about whether or not Amber had a Crunchwrap Supreme before the event. You know, I don't need to know her BMs. I don't need to know Johnny saying it, like,
What?
She shit the bed, remember?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that whole thing. And then Johnny just being like, you know, so I talked to hearsay. Well, am I going to say more hearsay, sir? Hearsay. Okay, well, I mean, it's just exhausting to watch the clips. But we're not going to talk about that in the show. But we are going to talk about some stuff. I went and saw Men at the theater. Speaking of you know, trials about abusive dudes, I saw a movie about abusive dudes. So we're going to be talking about that. And Vince says he doesn't need any BMs in his DMs. This is true. It's too many M's. And then Jake saw a film as well.
Yeah, I watched an Indian movie, fresh to U.S. market here. I watched RRR because I was going to watch the Downton Abbey movie, but my fiance, big fan of Downton Abbey. We worked a big event yesterday out in the cold. We weren't feeling great afterwards, so
You could have cozied up in a warm movie theatre.
Yeah, but I was definitely going to fall asleep if I tried to watch
Downton Abbey.
Maggie Smith, the Carrie Downton Abbey movie. So,
Sir, how dare you? Yeah, I'm assuming it's lots of that. Join us for tea? Oh, why, I never. Oh, you rapscallion. You know, and that's
yeah,
like
I
most
imagine
of,
it's exactly pretty close to that.
full of rapscallions and ne'er-do-wells.
Sure, why not?
Yeah, and fisticuffs, sir, have at you. And yeah, that's Downton Abbey. But maybe next week you'll talk about Downton Abbey.
Perhaps.
But this week they're kind of a quiet week in the news, believe it or not. I mean, and yeah, look how cool. If you guys are tuned into the live stream, you know, it's the middle of summer and we're like wearing hoodies.
I have to, dude. I was freezing to death yesterday and today.
I got down to like the 50s.
Yeah, I was like, oh, it's past mid-May. I don't need a hoodie today. I was wrong.
Yeah.
I was very wrong. Very cold today.
I'm about it. I actually like, as long as it's not raining, I love it. I think this is great. I'm built for this weather. Like I'm everyone's like, oh, I don't want summer so I can have allergy attacks. There can be flies all on my food. I can get bit by mosquitoes, ticks, and fleas. And then there could be like massive humidity, so I'm all sweaty and gross. And then there could be flooding, and there could be all these things that I love about summer. It's so great. Our air conditioner can go out, and blah blah blah. And like, summer's stupid.
Yeah, it's like thin, tan people in their 20s that don't sweat, and they're like, "Oh, summer rules."
And I've never been any of those things. Like, except for I was in my 20s, but I've never been
in my 20s once.
Never been thin or tan.
I used to be a thin boy.
Yeah, well, you should have enjoyed it. You should have been cool, hot boy beach, slick. That you should have been. That's when you could have been slick doggy, not now.
How, dude?
I'm just saying. There was a time. It was a time. But, yeah, not a whole lot of interesting stuff. I mean, there was some trailers that came out. I don't know if you guys I know we haven't talked about this trailer because it just recently dropped, but George Miller's new trailer for 3,000 Years of Longing guaranteed a wide theatrical release, which is pretty cool. Idris Elba playing the role of a genie in a bottle alongside Tilda Swinton, his begrudging wishmaker. Trailer looks pretty cool.
I mean, it looks like
better than Aladdin.
Well, it's probably better than Aladdin. It looks like a mess of a movie, though. There's so much going on in that trailer, like lots of everything all over the place.
Well, and that's why they're advertising from the mad genius of George Miller. When do you get to like self-propose? Let me ask an expert in the subject. When do you get to like make nicknames for yourself? Like if George Miller is the mad genius director, which, you know, I mean, when you put that mantle on yourself, tell me, Slick Doggy.
Yeah, but he did Mad Max, though.
But does that make him a mad genius? Because Fury Road was
Fury Road was turds. I don't see why so many people like it. It's like the Final Fantasy VII of Mad Max movies. Everyone's like, oh, it's the best one because it's really my first one, and it's like the introduction to it for me, even though it's deep within the series and I have no context to base on. And I'm going to go back and look at the earlier ones and be like, well, this one's clearly better because it's newer and fancier.
It's the first one that I saw.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that
Road Warrior's the best one. Everyone knows that. Well, you think Thunderdome?
That was the first one I saw.
Thunderdome's good. He has
Thunderdome
Tina Turner, and it has Master
Blaster,
Blaster, and it has the saxophone,
and the guitar,
has,
or the helicopter guy.
Yeah, but he's from Road Warrior.
He is from Road Warrior, but he was so cool they had to bring him over.
And he comes back in Fury Road for a minute, doesn't he?
I think so. Yeah, I think he does. Yeah. But anyway, that trailer dropped. It looked pretty cool. You can check it out. It's called 3,000 Years of Longing. Supposed to hit theaters, I want to say August 31st this year.
I didn't write it down. Yeah,
this summer, I believe. So yeah, you can check that out. Other bits of news. I didn't have a whole lot. Did you have anything?
Yeah, there was a lot more trailers, man. What are you talking about?
I'm just trying to think of news, but yeah.
I mean, just like last week, this week, the big news is just more and more trailers.
Yeah, Mission Impossible. Was that what you were about to say?
Yeah, I mean that wasn't the first one I was going to go to, but yeah, dude. Trailer for Mission Impossible dropped today.
Part 1, yeah. And it's like more of Tom Cruise,
he
like
runs,
running,
and then
without breaking his ankle.
He drives, and then he drives off a cliff. All the Tom Cruise-isms.
Doing Tom Cruise, like COVID must have just got a fire under his ass, and he's just like, I gotta fly jets, I gotta drive motorcycles off cliffs, I gotta get in more car chases, I gotta run and be free. And
it looks sick.
Well, so, okay, you know, you probably tune into the show and be like, here's two white dudes that clearly have a bunch of, you know, dumbassery memorabilia from Burrowy movies in the back. But the thing is, you know, we don't only like that, but that's about the only toys they'll sell you is for those movies. But Mission Impossible, though, Mission Impossible is a really good action franchise.
It's so good.
There's a lot of action franchises that I will turn my nose up at. And also, we're two white guys sitting here in a memorabilia-laden set studio. This is all real stuff, P.S. And we both don't like the MCU. which is pretty uncommon. I think most people are just like, oh my god, MCU. Like half the time you go to like Slash Film or whatever to look up news, and it's just like, what did someone maybe think about in Marvel Studios, and we're gonna make sure you get it. Guess what? It's She-Hulk, Attorney at Law.
I was about to say, yeah, as amazing as the Mission Impossible trailer was, and I was just like, yes, like the whole time I was getting so pumped because all of the Mission Impossible movies are so good, and you just watch them and just like, oh, how do they keep getting better? Then you see the She-Hulk trailer and you're like,
oof.
But why though?
Yeah, you got a bad taste in your mouth.
Yeah, they're like
the CGI is bad, the comedy's bad, and it's like
oh yeah, the CGI is not great. And then it's just
but it
like,
turned into comedy. Like, remember on the show, we talk about this all the time, Jake and I do, where we're like, okay, they take serious characters, and the only way to make them successful in the Marvel Cinematic Universe is to do comedy. And we always make fun of Hulk, like giving people tacos and making dick jokes about the Hulk. And that's what this whole show is predicated upon. Like friendly neighborhood taco Hulk.
I wonder how they're going to do it, though, because it's like Hulk's just like, hey, cousin Jennifer, here's some Hulk genes. And she's like, wow, I'm going to rage in this cage. And he's like, calm it down, though. And
she's like, now I'm big, horny girl power, and I'm going to lift up this dude and sex on him.
Yeah. And then Abomination shows up, though. So I guess at least there's
that's
that.
Dad.
What?
Right? Wasn't that like his stepdad in one of the movies?
No. What? No, Abomination's Emil Blonsky. He was
I know,
just
but
one of the
in one of the movies, I thought that they tried to make Abomination like a father-parent figure or something. I don't know. They're all running together in my head because they were all so bad. You remember?
Eli Roth was Abomination in the Incredible Hulk movie, and he was just a soldier dude.
What character did like Nick Nolte play or whatever?
That was his dad. That was Hulk's dad in Ang Lee's Hulk.
And was he not Abomination?
No.
A version of him?
Okay. No, he oh man, what was that character's name? Because he could transform into the elements.
Okay, see, I'm getting those confused.
No, Abomination's just like
my giant monsters that turn into shit. I'm getting them all confused.
Abomination's just a big green goblin guy, and you saw him in Shang-Chi.
Shang-Chi, yeah.
Yeah.
So
now he's gonna be in She-Hulk. Who knows? I don't know. Looks dumb.
It looks very dumb.
Talking about movies and things that don't need to be made. There's a new Ip Man that has a trailer out too. Ip Man 6. The Awakening, going
a lot of Ip Mans.
Going way back to the beginning. This time it's a origin story, and it's just Ip Man punching people. So more of the same. You're not gonna be disappointed, I guess.
I mean, honestly, punching people's fun. It's cool to watch on screen. Sells tickets.
Sure. But, yeah. Well, and going back to the white people thing. There was a trailer for The Forgiven. Did you see that?
I didn't catch that one.
Well, that one has two really white people, and they do damage to some minorities in culture, and it's about like maybe some consequences they may suffer from that. But it is called The Forgiven, so who knows? It has Ralph Fiennes and Jessica Chastain as like a really weird couple, and they run over some guy in the desert on their way to a party, and then they're just like,
as you do,
hey, here's this dude that we killed, and they deliver him to Doctor Who, and he's like, whatever, let's make out with everyone and party instead. And
you sure it's not just Very Bad Things, that movie from the 90s where they accidentally kill that Vegas hooker and they go, well, let's just keep partying, I guess.
Yeah.
That's actually a really good dark comedy.
Eventually they hand the body over to the family that comes looking for it, and then the family's like, well, we want that guy that ran him over too. We're going to teach him a lesson. And it seems like it's like a real suspenseful filled type thing. I don't know. It's like a emotion suspense movie.
We need to find a quicker way of saying an emotion suspense filled movie. Is there like a spastrama? A spastrama?
Yeah, I don't know. But
That's a bad one.
Haves and have-nots, and they have to learn their lessons.
And then the secret was the lesson was in you the whole time, I guess. I don't know. But yeah, that's out. What else? She-Hulk, blah, blah, blah. That's really all I had listed
No,
in
yeah, there
news. It wasn't much.
Too awful much.
Yeah, but that's a good thing that we've got 2 movies to talk about today. But we got to talk about the movies that are coming out this week, because there are 2 movies coming out this week. You've probably been completely bombarded with trailers from them for the past, well, one of them, years, the other one, months. But Bob's Burgers is getting a movie treatment. So if you are a fan of that show, you can get your buns in the theater this week, it says. And check it out. It's the Belcher family trying to save the restaurant from closing as a sinkhole forms in front of it, and the kids try to solve a mystery that could save the family's restaurant. I mean, it's pretty tropey already, you know. It's just like, we got to save the restaurant. But I don't watch a lot of Bob's Burgers. I watch The Great North, which is from the same production team. Never really got into the Bob's Burgers. By the time that was getting popular, I just wasn't watching a lot of TV. But as Sam said over on Facebook, it says it's slightly charming. I find the same level of slight charm in The Great North as well. So I assume Bob's Burgers is very similar. You know, I mean, you see these camps of animation that do, you know, just different skins of the same show. Like, you know, Seth MacFarlane was really notorious for it for a while there in the mid-2000s, where it was just like, Family Guy, but then American Dad, and then the subplot character from Family Guy, Cleveland Show, and then they all sort of were the same show, just more. Shout outs to Dwight over on YouTube, tuning in. What's up, man?
American Dad was funnier than Family Guy because they didn't.
I didn't say it wasn't funny.
They didn't explain the jokes to you. It was better.
But it was the same character archetypes.
Yeah, sure.
You know, just just family things.
Yeah, but one had a gay alien.
A Galian?
Oh.
There we go. See, we can do it.
Coming to Star Trek Brave New Worlds.
Yeah, oh, have you been watching Star Trek Brave New Worlds? So I just started it, actually, and I did not realize that it was kind of a direct sequel from Discovery. And I have not watched Discovery because I haven't heard good things. And but you know, Captain Pike, you know, is the lead, but it's when he's on the Enterprise. And I've watched the first 2 episodes, and I don't really like it that much.
Are they gonna have like the lead up? Like the end of the series be the lead up to the pilot for original Star Trek, where Captain Pike's on the bridge and he's like, "I'll never get used to a woman on the bridge." Ugh.
Oh no, except for every character's a woman on the bridge, which is kind of interesting because you're just, you know, that line from Captain Pike, but it kind of because I know that, you know, and I know what they're trying to break, the Roddenberry stuff, and you know, Uhura's obviously the main lady on the bridge, but in Brave New Worlds or Strange New Worlds or whatever the hell it's called, he's the only dude. Like, and I'm like,
well, Spock's supposed to be there, right?
Well, he's. Do
they give Spock his crazy bushy eyebrows like in the pilot episode, and Spock's just like smiling all the time, and he has insanely bushy eyebrows? Because they need to explain the pilot episode if they're doing this. Sam says 2 beeps for no. Yeah, can the finale just be how Pike ends up in the wheelchair, or he has to, like, only beep communication?
No, it is. So the first episode was actually kind of crazy because he sees his death. And he sees the face of the scarred up face from the So So I was like, oh my gosh, okay, they're going here. But then it's really weird. It's very episodic. I know Knight Alishly over on Twitch said, hey, don't spoil it. But this show's very episodic so far. You know, I started the 3rd episode and I got kind of so bored that I didn't finish it. But you know, the overarching narrative style that Deep Space Nine started, and some of the other, like Picard, is doing really hard. Strange New Worlds or Brave New Worlds or whatever kind of New Worlds it is, it's going back to that, like, you know, we're on a planet of, you know, dick-faced monsters, and how does their culture, you know, is different because they have dicks coming out of their face, and how do we blend in, and you know, it just makes me question, you know, how humans would react with dick faces, and they're kind of going back to that formula, and they're like, well, maybe we need to think about our dicks on our face a little bit differently from now on, you know, and like Star Wars, Trek, whatever. Anyway, that's a thing. It's on TV. You can check it out. Tyler says, "Love, Death, and Robots. New season looks really cool too. The trailer's out. I have not watched any of it."
The only thing we were at risk of spoiling that entire time was a pilot episode of a TV show from 1967.
Yeah, it's just like in case you missed it in the 60s. But I thought, that's kind of cool. It's cool to see. You know, what I like when Star Trek does, and I've read a lot of reviews where, you know, and this is my age showing, but, you know, when I see young people that I'll just start writing movie reviews. Like, I get a big chip on my shoulder about this, and we have a little extra time since there wasn't a whole lot of news. I'm going to talk about this. Don't tell me you don't get a chip. You make a face like, not me, but
No,
totally
just
you.
'cause I know. It's
Well, they'll write these reviews for all these, like, you know, notable websites, and they've clearly just started watching movies yesterday, or like, I just watched Star Trek for the first time, and this is how I feel about this, you know, 60-year-long franchise. And they go, oh, it's stupid that they're wearing these clothes, and they really dropped the ball on this one. And I'm like, well, do you have no frame of reference of why the content is the way that it is? You want to consume these franchises that you've heard of, but you don't want to consume the context of how we've gotten this far in the story. And it's called doing your research or understanding the assignment. TikTok. And see, you raise your eye because you're an old person and you don't know what TikTok is. But
yeah, I guess that's true.
But, you know, the thing is, if you're going to review films, you know, like, don't call it a review. Call it an opinion. Like, if you're like, I don't like this because it smells, like, that's an opinion. But if you're reviewing a film and you need to yes, you can put your opinion into that, but you also need to understand the context of these films and the history behind these films and these IPs and these franchise to really break down the stories and where they're going, how they got there, what maybe have caused them to fall apart as content. When you start to understand why like Halo, for example, it's like, you know, when it falls apart, it's because if you understand what it's built upon, you see that the pieces can't please everything, and everyone's like, well, who cares if it pleases everyone as long as it pleases me?
Yeah, apparently Halo just continued to get worse, and I made the right decision not watching it because they have Master Chief get naked and get with a
So
alien.
Not only did he take his helmet off, but he showed his helmet.
Yeah, like an alien lady, and yeah, someone posted an image the other day. Master Chief had his face all busted up and everything. Let's just call him John Dingus. So John 117 Dingus Man had his face all busted up and stuff, and everyone was like, if only there was some sort of apparatus made to protect your face and head area.
Yeah, be weird.
Yeah, like the helmet
technology
for Mjolnir armor.
But yeah, so I mean, my point is with that is, you know, I think the whole argument is, well, they shouldn't have to cater to everybody, ... as long as they cater to me. And I think that if people understood that that's what they're saying, then it's like, look, find a new property or take a chance on something that's different or created new for you. Like, you know, if I'm going to visit an IP, right, that may or may not have been created specifically for me during my time, whatever, I want to go back and I want to, you know, check out how we got here. That's how you review things. That's how you understand things. Like, you don't just jump in the middle of a book series and go, well, I'm going to pick this one up. It doesn't make sense. They need to write the next one for me. And it's like, no, asshole. Like, go back and read the last 12, then maybe you catch up with the rest of us. So, you know, yeah, that's how I feel about that kind of stuff. So we'll leave it at that. Tyler on YouTube says he wanted Master Chief boning an alien.
Nobody wanted that.
That's Captain Kirk's job. Is
that's
boning aliens.
Star Trek.
Yeah, that's where you get alien sex is Star Trek. You know, it's funny that Star Wars is pretty void of alien sex, but Star Trek is way hornier than Star Wars has ever attempted to be. I mean, you just got the holodeck there, and that is just like cum dumpster in the future.
You're getting so off track.
What? I mean, is it not true?
I don't know.
You don't know? Why are you so
don't
prude
know.
now? Like, something has changed, and Jake would have been like, yeah, dude, let me tell you about, like, who's the guy that comes in and mops up the holodeck, dog? And now you're just like,
It's Quark.
I've never
Or Quark makes Rom
thought
do it.
about intercourse in my life. I'm going to go home and eat graham crackers. Google the history of graham crackers, and that joke will be a lot funnier. Because you know your context. Because do your homework, and history's fun. Graham crackers were invented to be like anti-horny food, so there you go. I did the Google for you. Now you can go find the further tale on the Googles. But anyway, speaking of old IPs, a 35-year-old movie is finally getting a sequel this weekend. We've been waiting for 2 years for this thing to come out. Top Gun Maverick, coming out in theaters this year. Because what is more plausible than a pushing 60-year-old ace pilot that is apparently the only thing that the Air Force or Navy can do to, fix this problem is call in someone who's clearly not in good enough shape to pilot these things, except Tom Cruise does it in real life. Mm-hmm. And there's a lot of really cool behind-the-scenes stuff talking about the camera techniques they used. I read a really interesting article about, how they chose some of the locations for shooting these aerial choreography scenes, because aerial shooting is difficult because a lot of times you're on another moving object, filming moving objects, right? Or you're way on the ground and having to shoot up, so it's really awkward. But they went to these huge mountains and mounted camera crews at the same eye line as the jets because they were up so high and used long lenses, and apparently it's just like an incredible experience to see some of this stuff. And then Tom Cruise flying jets, that's pretty wild. As Logan says, good morning, aviators.
They still haven't sent him to space yet, have they?
Did he not do like a space skydive?
No, he was supposed to film a movie on the space station, but Russia got their actors there first and then started a war. That's why they did it. Was to make sure that we couldn't put Tom Cruise in space.
Thanks, Russia. Gosh, that everything goes back to Tom Cruise. Because he's like, what, Zeblix level 7 in Scientology or whatever. No. He is Zorb. I don't know Scientology. All I know is, doesn't it have the leader is John Travolta with that big head makeup from Battles? What was that? Battleship Earth?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's all I know about Scientology is L. Ron Hubbard's characters from that movie.
Or Sultan.
Yeah. That forehead, though. Let's see. Logan says the trailer shows him in an SR-71. I don't know. It's an airplane, as far as I'm concerned.
The Blackbird from friggin' X-Men, dude.
Oh, I've sat in one of those. Yeah, in Huntsville, Alabama, at the NASA Space and Rocket Center, because I went to space camp, and they have a SR-71 sitting out there, like a plane so fast that they invented technology to just slow it down so they didn't need to go so fast. It's like the fastest. Mm-hmm. It's pretty cool. It's like the Sonic the Hedgehog of airplanes.
It's like so fast that if planes like in Top Gun shot bullets at it, it just outruns those bullets.
That's wild.
That's so cool.
And I mean, how old technology that if you ever stop and think about that kind of stuff, it's like that's technology we had in the 80s, and they're like, well, that's old shit. And certainly there's laser beam, they turn you into energy.
Dude, if you piloted an SR-71, you'd have to have the X-Men 90s cartoon theme just on blast.
But you technically, wouldn't you be going faster than the music so you couldn't hear it? What? Ah! How would that work if you're going faster than the speed of sound? Could you be listening to Kenny Loggins? Or would Kenny Loggins just be getting lost? The world will never know.
They're sworn to secrecy on that one.
Huh. Okay, movie logic. If Kenny Loggins can only travel as fast as the speed of sound, but an SR-71 can break the sound barrier,
I just realized.
Can you ever truly enter the danger zone?
The new Top Gun's not going to have a Kenny Loggins heavy soundtrack, and what am I going to do with my life when I watch this movie and it's not
That's probably going to be
hanging with the boys.
Probably going to it's going to have the theme, the That's Jan Hammer, isn't it?
I don't know. I know it's not.
Are you sure it's not?
It's not gonna have Danger Zone. It's not gonna.
Well, that's not Kenny Loggins.
Playing with the boys.
Let's see who recorded. Oh, it's Harold Faltermeyer, my other favorite composer from the 80s.
Of course.
Yeah. Well, I really like Harold Faltermeyer. He did all the fun buddy cop movies, and he did like Beverly Hills Cop, and then he did Tango and Cash, like the Tango and Cash, and he did Fletch, the like God, it's so good. Like
Watching that on the audio levels, like.
Oh, yeah, I'm seeing my waves over there.
Yeah.
Well, like, after the show, you guys, like, when you're driving or whatever you're doing, like, go, Bo said, like, check out the theme song to Fletch and do it, and you will not be disappointed.
But what about the theme song to Fletch Lives?
Yeah. Logan says, oh, take my breath away. Bow, 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 bow. Boom, boom. Boom, boom.
What are we doing?
We're not like I'd play the samples, but we'd get in trouble. We'd get flagged for.
That's true. We're talking Top Gun.
We're talking Top Gun.
We'll
it's coming
see
out.
what its theme song or what its soundtrack sounds like. I'll be there. I want to see it.
We've been waiting for 2 years. We've been waiting for a long time. Like I'm kind of overwaiting. I'm like I just want to get it over with. I want to see it. Let's just get it done. I'm not expecting a whole lot. I am expecting some good aerial dog fights.
I'm expecting everything.
You're gonna be let down because that's what always happens, Jake.
No,
you always go to these movies like, yeah, I'm gonna be so excited. And you're like, that sucked and I hate it because my expectations were too high.
No, dude, I'm gonna be so jazzed.
Sam says MIDI files don't get flagged. That's a smart thinking over there. Smart thinking. But yeah, anyway, that's what's coming out in theaters this week.
Oh, you didn't talk about the other movie that's coming out.
I talked about Bob Burgers.
Well, we talked about it earlier. Bob's Burgers coming out this weekend too.
Yeah, those are the two things. So yeah, you watched a movie.
I did.
Talk about it.
Yeah, I watched. That is now available on Netflix. RRR, which you find out like a third of the way into the movie what it stands for, which is Rise, Roar, Revolt. And it takes place in 1920s India, and it's about these two revolutionary dudes and how they come to be best friends and bitter enemies and best friends and fight for the people of India and stuff like this. So India's under British rule still. They're colonized and controlled, and the movie opens up with just the most heinous of people. Like this local governor steals this child and tosses a coin at the parents and is like, thanks for the kid, losers.
Oof.
And then the mom's like, no, don't take her, and they just bash her in the head with a stick and like drive off because a bullet would be too expensive.
Well, it's hard to get bullets over
Just
there.
making sure that everyone knows these people are awful and racist and terrible in every kind of way. And of course, it's played by Ray Stevenson because he just shows up like anytime a movie's like, we need a dude who's like really tough and can be a believable bad guy, just really harsh dude. They're like, get Ray Stevenson. Yeah, they're like, we want someone who sexually molests a mermaid.
Oof.
Let's get Ray Stevenson. And it's just the weirdest thing to see him in all of these things because he's so cool. He's the Punisher, and
He's got that like hard beard energy.
Yeah.
And also one of those actors that has naturally pointed eyebrows.
But he's very white, so they're like, let's get this guy.
Yeah.
But that aside, they kidnap this girl, they take her away, and you find out that she's from this tribe of people, and they're like they don't let anyone go. They're like the guy describes them as sheep. They're a herd, and if even one of them goes missing, it throws them in disarray. But that's why they have a shepherd. Enter badass number 1, and he's
Okay.
like on the hunt for the girl. And then you see this dude who's a cop. He's also an Indian guy, but he's working under the British police, and he just waylays like 300 dudes at once to arrest this one guy who's causing trouble. And then he's still denied a promotion in favor of all these British dudes, right? And so here's badass number 2, and the people, knowing that badass number 1, the herdsman, is on the hunt for the girl are like, we need someone who can whoop up on this dude. And badass number 2 cop guy is like, I'll do it for the promotion. And so they both are going, like, cop guys hunting dude and dudes trying to find the girl. But they interact and they meet because they're both, there's a traffic thing on this bridge and there's explosions and all of the action of an Indian movie. And then they meet as friends because they're both like heroes and they're saving people.
Do they do like a, like one of the Predator handshakes?
They
there?
do.
Okay.
Swinging from the bridge.
Boom!
Clasp. Friends forever. But they don't know that they're the two that are like going to have to fight. And eventually, they end up, they form like this ultimate like friendship of brodom, and they're just super rad. But the cop guy's hunting this dude and eventually finds out that that's who he is. They have their whole interaction, and herdsman guy, the shepherd dude, gets captured, gets beat up, but eventually breaks free. They fight their way, and then cop guy, it turns out he's infiltrating the police so that he can get weapons to the people and have the people fight back. So they both kind of have like the same goal of freedom for the Indian people, but they're going about it different ways and their methods clash. But at the end, they come together, they have to fight together, and they kill Ray Stevenson and save the day and make India a better place for Indian people. It's super badass. There's a lot of layers to it that's difficult to explain in a short period of time.
As Indian films have.
I'm taking like a 3-hour movie that's like Tango and Cash like level of,
Buddy copdom.
buddy cop, super cool bro movie, and trying to condense it down. But it's an Indian movie too, so there's so many layers. There's dancing and romance and action and explosions and lessons and morals and
Cooking.
Was
there a cooking scene? Because there's always,
remember.
it seems like every time I watch an Indian film, there's always like a cooking scene.
Maybe.
But where can people watch this if they want
It's
to
on
check it out?
Netflix right now. If you
Okay.
still have Netflix, if you've held on to Netflix, it's there. You can watch it. It's actually super good. But Netflix only has the Hindi version of it. It was filmed in Telugu, so of course the synchronization of the mouths and the language is not there. If that bothers you like it bothers me, it might be difficult, but it's still super good, worth watch. I really liked it. It's good. I had fun.
Right on. You can check that out on Netflix. A lot of stuff popping up on Netflix. A lot of people leaving Netflix. Netflix seems like they're in a little bit of trouble. Yeah, Carson over on YouTube. I'm not going to say that over the air, but you can check it out in the comments. But anyway, yeah, a lot of people leaving Netflix, but we'll see. Streaming wars. It's all becoming cable all over again. So we'll see what happens. But into the theaters, I saw Men, which is the new film from Alex Garland. If you don't know that name, then you will need me to remind you that mainly known for Ex Machina and Annihilation, which were the two previous films that he directed. He also directed The Devs, which was a miniseries. And one thing that if you've never watched any Alex Garland films, that there is a theme that he loves to play with, and that theme is generally, finding some sort of I don't want to use the word singularity because he does a movie about the concept of singularity, but finding individualism in the face of sort of anonymous unity. And if you watch Ex Machina, it's about like making all these clones, or not clones, but AIs, it's about singularity. If you've ever understood the concept of, Skynet, basically. And then Annihilation in 2018 was like this weird dystopian future thing where they go in they find all these they're making all these biological clones for like body parts and weirdness, and everything's kind of connected, and he loves dealing with a lot of that connectivity and body horror. He's not quite to the level of David Cronenberg fame for his body horror, but after this movie, he's going to be getting close. This movie was very much like a page out of Chris Cunningham music videos from the 90s, a la like Square Pusher and Richard D. James, Aphex Twin, meets David Cronenberg style body horror Videodrome kind of stuff, where there's like a vagina and a VHS tape in someone's chest, and there was a lot of immersion from vagina things, menginas. There's a lot of menginas in this movie, but this movie, I'm trying to find a really good way to like sum this up, because this movie's plot, obviously from the surface, you're dealing with a movie about toxic masculinity. I would say not so much like overly toxic masculinity, that's the easy, the cheap blow, but how microaggressions can lead to massive explosions, I think, is kind of one of the big themes of this movie, and about how women deal with microaggressions every day, and how they can build up over time, and while something's somewhat innocuous at one moment, building up over just every person that you look at, everything that you see, everything is being other, which in science fiction and horror, other is always the enemy or the thing in question, which leads to the role of Rory Kinnear, like just absolutely stealing the show. I mean, it's basically a two actor film. It's Jessie Buckley, who has a great character performance as Harper, the lead, and then Rory Kinnear playing every other character in the movie except for the husband, who dies in the trailer. No spoilers. And the best friend on Skype. Which, the film obviously created in the pandemic. It's a very intimate film, very, very claustrophobic. And I think this is the strengths of the movie. The kind of like holy shit moments of the end are what make the movie sort of fall apart, because Alex, he loves dealing with, at its core, this is sort of like a very old English folklore-y horror story, but it's wrapped in, kind of sexy, poignant sort of gender study, a la what is that? Beneath the Skin, Under the Skin, the movie about where she's the alien that goes around and like seduces dudes and eats them and wears their skin. Really great movie. Something Under the Skin. Somebody in the comments will figure it out. They'll Google it for me. But the themes here are the scariest part of this. There's a lot of suspense. There's a lot of, internal horror and isolation of Jessie's character as she is dealing with grief. Like, this movie is very much about grief and the healing process, and how, it can create a world of panic where everything is a monster. And so for me personally, like, when I left this movie, it leaves with a big question mark. And so I was wondering, like, did any of this stuff happen? Was a lot of this just her journey and grieving? The ending could have been, was this a monster, or was this just a dude that got in her way? And we don't know. And that's something that Alex does really well in his films, is he doesn't answer all the questions, and he leaves you guessing of what's happening on screen to these characters, and is this a part of a bigger play and a bigger story? And I think that's where the strengths in this movie lie. But it starts to lean too far into, oh well, we gotta make it scary. We gotta do a oh my god moment. We gotta do some sort of creature. We gotta do some sort of thing. And leaning into that, it fell apart for me. Like, the end, just all of these themes. It's like, what are you trying to tell? Like, with a storyteller and a director like this, it's like, what do you want me to take away from this movie? Because you're presenting it in a way that is intellectual, and there is something that I need, a message that a viewer needs to take away from this. And obviously, the themes of microaggressions and all of this, and dealing with grief is very clear. But what's the take home? And a movie, a slasher film like Chainsaw Massacre, the take home is, I'm just gonna be really entertained watching a dude saw millennials in half. Like, that's fun. But this movie is not that. But by the end of it, it started to feel like that. And that's kind of where I got distracted. As Tyler just said on YouTube, he's like, it never got to the point. And I agree. I didn't need it to just stick the landing and go, well, Guess what we learned today, audience? But it left it so ambiguous, as if they didn't even know what they were trying to say. And there was a lot of religious and shamanistic, paganistic metaphors and themes that were introduced like early on, like the moment she bites the apple, and they're like, "Oh, forbidden fruit, huh?" Like, okay, well, am I supposed to be thinking about the Bible? And then they go and there's like this plant god thing, man, and you're like, okay, well, am I thinking about paganism? And then there, very, very. Lots of vaginal themes throughout the movie, and it's like, okay, well, are we talking Wiccan? Are we talking paganism? Like, what's happening here? What are we supposed to? Is the message that the interactivity of men and women haven't changed in 2,000 years since the recorded history, or is there something more ethereal and mystic at play? And it doesn't really explain any of that, and that was a little disappointing for me, because I want to know where my head's going to a point where I can at least find my path. I didn't want him to spell it out for me. This is a final girl horror style movie at its core. If you're going to break down the structure of this film, it is very much a final girl, narrative. Like, creepy situation, bad guy, person that you think probably doesn't have the strength and wherewithal to get through something like this, but does, and overcomes the evil at the end. And okay, no spoiler alerts. That's how every single movie like that goes, and it goes like this here. But I wanted to see whether or not this was a creature of her imagination, and she just straight up axe murdered the dude that owned this house, that in her mind all these dudes are looking the same, and she's just fed up with fucking dudes giving her shit. Or was this a crazy weird monster? Like, I don't know. We don't know. And I kind of wanted to know, because she still had blood on her and her friend was there. And you're like, okay, what? Give me one more scene. Or maybe that's what Alex wanted in this movie, is to just leave us guessing. Hannah says on YouTube, it's like an essay draft that started off well, got off track, and then didn't actually get to the point of the story. Yes. It's like, in this film, we're going to talk to you about these themes. And then they get off on a story about something that happened to them at a cafe, and then they never get around to just telling the story. So I will say that people are going to talk about this movie. There is some creature effects in this movie that are just beyond disturbing. Just like horrifying body horror. If you've ever wanted to see a close-up of a vagina giving birth to a monster that has another vagina on it that gives birth to another monster that has another vagina on it that gives birth to another monster, you're going to get all that in this movie. And I'm sorry to spoil that for you, but it very much escalates. Like, there's a movie that it's kind of a cult classic now. It's called Society. And remember when I showed everybody Society and it didn't give them any warning? And it's just like 45 minutes of like, why the hell am I watching this? This movie's boring and slow. And then all of a sudden there's a dude that's ripping his asshole apart, and it's his face, and then he like fly mouths and vomits onto another thing, and like skin's going everywhere. It's really weird, but it's really fun. But anyway, yeah, it's a movie to see, and it's definitely not for everyone. Okay, A24 movies, again, very it's weird how many A24 movies we're getting in theaters. And I will say that A24 films are, not challenging's not the good word, but they're definitely not blockbuster films for everybody. You're going to go in and you're going to have a theatrical experience of something that is not Thor playing, Guns N' Roses on his axe guitar. Like, you're not going to get any of that in this. And you're saying that like that's cool, but that's Marvel. That's literally the new trailer of
I didn't see him playing Guns N' Roses on a guitar.
The whole trailer is just like,
it's not Thor himself. Like,
it's just like, welcome to the jungle. My name is Thor. I got an axe made out of Groot, and I make jokes about loving Chris Pratt. Here we go. I'm on a spaceship. My butt is made of rocks. I got a big old ding-a-ling, and here's a girl with my hammer. Jungle. Welcome to MCU. Like that's the whole fucking trailer. And yeah. How did you miss that?
I don't know.
Yeah. Anyway, this movie's creepy. It's disturbing. It's definitely don't take a date. Like you're gonna. It's a weird. It's a sweet child of mine, but I couldn't have thought of lyrics on the fly that fast to a different Guns N' Roses song. Jungle's easier. You're gonna die. But Men, it's in theaters. You can check it out. Go with your friends. Don't go with a date. Definitely don't take like a person you're not like in a very serious committed. Well, don't take anyone to see this. Go see it by yourself or just with homies. Like this movie deals with some relationship shit that's hard. It will make you hate the opposite gender for whatever reason. It's just a weird movie that I don't hate. Like I would say in terms of Alex Garland's films, not my favorite. I would definitely say Ex Machina is the top, then Annihilation, then this. Not saying that any of them are bad. That's just how I would rank them personally. But it is an interesting film, and I like the fact that it is in theaters, and I want to go back to the theater and sit in the lobby when people are coming out of this movie just to hear what they say about it. Because I know that there's going to be a lot of people that go to this movie just because they think it's going to be scary, and they're going to walk out going, what just happened to me? And to me, that's pretty fun. Do not see this in IMAX. Sam says in IMAX? But excellent performances, I will say. Rory Kinnear and Jesse Buckley knocking it out of the park. Men, in theaters right now. You can check it out. There you go. All right. Boom. A lot of themes. A lot of vagina themes. Bordering Lars von Trier. Like we're almost there. Lars von Trier, as I call him, but Google him too if you really want to smell your own farts for a while. Okay, let's talk about. It's the time. It's box office time.
Box office time.
Let's box the box office. All right, we're going to give you the box office roundup for the weekend of May 20th through 22nd, 2022. We give you the domestic totals only because worldwide numbers don't influence sequels and greenlights. Even though Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness is pushing over the 800 million mark, we're only going to give you the domestic numbers. So, thanks, Vince, for making a clip of my my Guns N' Roses. But anyway, we're going to start with number 10, going to work our way up, tell you what's making money in the theaters. And again, if you interpret these numbers, you can understand the data. You can tell when movies are probably going to leave theaters. So if there's a movie that's not doing well that you want to see, then maybe you should go out and see it because it's probably not going to get an opportunity.
Yeah, you can be real badass at the box office game that Dina plays. All right, so here it is. Top 10 coming in at number 10, still holding on, but big drop. The Northman brought in just over $1 million this weekend, bringing its domestic total up to 33.07. So it has stayed in there for 5 weeks, bringing in over $33 million. So hanging in there, doing better than what I think some people thought after its initial opening, but good for it. And that does not include its streaming totals where it's available right now. Number 9 still hanging in there as well. The Lost City this week brought in $1.5 million.
I think I need to see this movie. I've been avoiding this movie.
9-week total up to just shy of $100 million at 99.33. I need to watch it too.
It's formulaically it looks like a movie I would enjoy, and I just haven't had a chance to go see it in the theater. There's just other things that I want to see first, and that just seems like a movie that I'd probably watch on Netflix.
Yeah, it looks like Sahara or Fool's Gold or something like that.
Just one of those feel good,
fun,
just kill an hour or two,
dumb adventure, Romancing the Stone type thing. Yeah. Clearly Romancing the Stone for sure.
Oh yeah.
Number 8, Fantastic Beast, which is still in there on its 6th week of release, bringing in $1.95 million this weekend, bringing its domestic total up to $93 million total, which is better than what I thought it should do, especially after the disappointment of the last one and the disappointment that is this one. So good for them. Yeah. They're doing something. Number 7, Firestarter, in its 2nd week, already at number 7. But there's no advertising for this thing. It brought in just shy of $2 million at 1.989, bringing its 2-week total up to $7 million domestic. So
that's a bummer.
bummer. But for
what did they expect?
Yeah.
What did they expect? I don't know.
Number 6.
They didn't flip the script. They didn't put her in a wheelchair. They didn't, like they.
Yeah,
they
but why
just-
change things? Just maybe put some ads out there.
I think that would have gotten people like at least talking about it. They're just like, yeah, doing a shot-by-shot remake of Firestarter. Everyone's like, what? What movie? Oh, little girl sets fire to stuff. Yeah, okay.
Stephen King or whatever.
Yeah.
Number 6, Everything Everywhere All at Once. We reviewed that on the show.
Still
In
hanging
its
in.
9th week, brought in $3.13 million, bringing its domestic total up to 52.
Only a 5% drop. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, not bad. That one's hanging in there better than most because it was going up for a while there. Opening at number 5, Men. Brought in $3.3 million on its first week.
Well, you also have to think about how niche of an audience this is.
Sure.
There's it opened in 2,212 theaters this weekend.
Yeah, it's only about half of the pre-COVID theater numbers.
And it's rated R, which cuts out a lot of things, and it's also a difficult movie. So it's I'd say it's as odd as this movie is, that's as good as an opening I thought as it was going to get.
Sure, because with all the other movies out there, you have some of the feel-good things. Like you have like Lost City, you have a Harry Potter movie, you have a Michelle Yeoh vehicle, and then you have our top 4, thanks Bottle Rocket, that are all going to be something a little more accessible for most people. And rounding out that top 4 is going to be Sonic the Hedgehog 2, bringing in $4 million this weekend in its 7th week of release for a domestic total of $181 million. Sonic killing it. Will we get Sonic 3 at some point with Shadow? Yeah, and more cheese dogs, chili dogs. Number 3.
You didn't come down and slurp a Chicago dog with us at the Malort event on Sunday. I was slinging Chicago dogs.
I didn't know about it.
That was awesome.
But I was working an event just outside of this building here.
Oh, thanks, Vince. Oh, well, thanks to Bottle Rocket. Happy 10 months of the subscription. Dang.
Hey, hot damn.
All right.
Number 3, The Bad Guys, brought in $6.1 million this weekend, bringing its 5-week total up to $74.4 for its domestic total. It's out there. It's doing
its thing.
Animated movie. People like it. Opening at number 2, the new Downton Abbey movie, A New Era, brought in $16 million. Not a bad opening weekend for a movie based on a TV show full of old British people.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Focus features. I mean, hey, 16 million people want to see
Downton Abbey had a big following. I'd be interested to see what its international totals are.
So Sam over on Facebook said, "Ugly Sonic was a character in the Chip and Dale movie, which was on Disney Plus. I don't have Disney Plus, so I didn't see it. But OG Sonic, the one that was in the internet trailers, is a character in Chip and Dale.
The one with the little eyes,
and the dumb nose,
and the teeth.
Yeah, and the teeth, the individual teeth." So I kind of want to watch Chip and Dale just for that. But
I've heard it has some weird stuff in there.
I've heard
you have your eyes out for it.
Yeah, pretty insane.
Yeah.
But
Chip
speaking
and
of
Dale,
yeah,
what's more fun than that? Magnum PI and Indiana Jones team up. Chip and Dale.
There it is. Number 1.
Number 1, still holding at number 1, Doctor Strange, Multiverse of Madness, brought in another $32.3 million. That's so much. And its 3rd week, bringing its domestic to $342.7 million. That's a lot of dollars for a real dumb movie.
It really is.
You got to see it. People got to see it. You got to know what happens in the Marvel cinematic universe. You got to know where it's going, how it's all connected.
Contractually obligated to go see that movie. So yeah, that's what you're gonna do.
But next week,
that's right,
things are gonna change because we're gonna fly right into the danger zone with some Top Gun. So excited.
This is MIDI, so maybe we won't get flagged. I don't know. We're gonna talk over it though. We're totally going to get flagged for this.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's our show. We're going to get out of here. Thanks for tuning in. We will see you guys next week. As always, I'm the Boom Operator.
I am Slick Doggy the Grip.
Like and subscribe. Subscribe to our channel. You can see all this cool content and all this jams. So don't go anywhere. We'll see you guys next week.
See ya.
What is going on?
I don't know. It sounds bad.